Richard Whitehead, and I'm absolutely sure that he will be sticking around because in what, an hour and 20 minutes time, his teammate Johnny Peacock will be taken to the track in the T44. That's for IPC's below the knee. The T44 100 metres. What a race it promises to be. Hayley, Ginn, Johnny Peacock's former coach, still with us here in the studio. Hayley, this race coming up, I mean, Richard Whitehead, we expected him to win,
yep.
But this race coming up is, I don't think anybody really knows what's going to happen.
No. Not even I know.
Not even you know.
I think at the moment, if I had to call, well, not even call it, I think my head's saying Brown and my heart's saying, you know, Peacock.
We can have a little look, actually, at Johnny's semi-final. You talked about how critical he is of his performances.
Yeah.
He came off the track and almost immediately when he spoke to Sonia, our reporter, said, my start was rubbish. I think in the studio our reaction wasn't Danny Craig was here. He actually didn't have a bad start.
No, in my opinion, I don't think the start was too bad. I think I haven't watched it in really great detail enough to slow it down, but I heard that he wasn't particularly happy with the blade coming through in the first two steps, so potentially he dragged it and maybe tripped slightly. From a distance and from here, you might be able to see it, I don't know.
It looks pretty clear.
Maybe in the second one and third one, but obviously each coach works on slightly different things. So obviously that low recovery out of blocks is very important, but obviously when you're working with blade runners, it's a lot more difficult to gauge in terms of proprioception.
How do you start with a single blade like that, say compared to Richard Whitehead, who's having to get two blades out of the blocks? How does he differ his technique?
It's a lot different, and obviously Richard's had, well, only one blip really. His starts tend to be reasonably okay. He's played a lot around with the positions, and obviously balance is the key thing for him. And as he hasn't got any mechanical knees, it's very difficult for him to get into any real good low position. With below knees, particularly the 44s, it's a lot easier for them to get into the position, just like any other able-bodied sprinter, really.
So let's talk about the psychology of this now. Johnny Peacock stayed behind after his race. He watched Richard Brown break his world record, looking pretty comfortable. What do you think that's done to Johnny, knowing him as well as you do?
I think dealing with pressure, he's pretty good. He's very good at performing when he needs to perform. Typically every race, most of the races I saw him do, he never ran slower than the previous race, or he only ever equalled. So he's constantly got better and better and better. I think obviously after the games he had a break. There's always that side of things. Has Richard Brown done more training? But obviously more isn't necessarily better. I think seeing that will have got into his head slightly. I saw him earlier today. I didn't think he was any more nervous than for any other previous races. And dealing with the 80,000 people in the stadium, obviously here is a very, very different atmosphere. So in terms of the atmosphere, I don't think that's going to get to him. But I think maybe the whole scenario, but hopefully he's been keeping away from the Twitter account and all that kind of thing.
None of that trash talking stuff that they got into earlier on in the season.
No.
Hayley, just before about an hour, just over an hour until the event, then what are his processes now? What's he going to be going through in the build-up to the event?
I've just seen him through there in warm-up, just doing some stretches and loosening off. He'll go through his standard warm-up with his current coach. He'll go through that, as will obviously Richard Brown. They're both good guys. They both know what they're doing. They'll just be, head down, getting on with things, music on, and getting ready and preparing themselves mentally and physically for the race.
Okay, Sophia, you're going to have to head off shortly, I think, but just your last thoughts on the final that's coming up.
Well, I'm really excited. I mean, it's great for Paralympic sport. It's great to have so many great athletes in one classification, so I'll be glued to the TV for sure.
Okay, Sophia, thanks very much, and
Thank
Hayley,
you.
good luck for watching the final, because I know you're never nervous, aren't you?
Indeed.
I know.
Well, I'm really looking forward to it as well. And if any of you need reminding, which I'm sure you don't, then here's a clip from the Paralympics last year.